Hey everybody, I'm Brad Polumbo, and you're watching BradReacts on Right Now. Every week on BradReacts, we break down the craziest and cringiest political stuff that's going around on social media. If you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button below, because today we're reacting to Marxist and straight up communist Tik Toks. Now let's get into it. Zeke, roll the first one.
If you can't live without something, it should be free. Simple as that.
Stupid liberals, let me explain economics to you. See this graph? See how those two lines intersect? That's why people have to starve.
Okay guys, well that one, I want to roll my eyes so hard I don't even know how to respond, because for one, let's just delete the word free from your vocabulary. Free doesn't exist. Free is a myth. Somebody has to pay for everything. And when they say free this, free that, what they mean is taxpayers pay for it. What they mean is you and me pay for it every time we get a paycheck and taxes come out of it. So free, no, there's no such thing as free. Now we're talking about essentials, the things that people need to survive. Shouldn't those all just be free and provided by taxpayers? Well, that's nice, but the real question is whether we want those things provided by incompetent government bureaucrats or by free markets. And I, for one, am much more likely to trust Jeff Bezos to get me the things that I need to survive on time than I am to get to the same people that brought you the DMV. More importantly, why is denigrating economics cool? Like, you know, that's not much of an argument when you're just disdaining things like graphs and statistics and facts and logic, but I guess that's what passes for an argument on Socialist Tik Tok these days. Zeke, what do you got for me next?
So I have this piece of paper that cost me 1 penny. If you wanted to buy it, I would sell it to you for 1 penny because that is its market value. Okay. I labored to turn that piece of paper into this crane. Okay. If the market value of this crane is $1, that means my labor created 99 cents of value. My labor is therefore worth 99 cents. Yeah, that makes sense. Would it be fair for someone else who didn't do any work to take 90 cents from me just because I happened to make this crane in their house? No, of course not. That would basically be stealing. So you agree that wage labor is theft? Well, no, because when you're a wage worker, you're working for someone else. They made an investment and took on all the risk. Like, it's fair for them to take some.
So this one cracks me up because this is straight up out of the Communist Manifesto, guys, and it's just circulating around on TikTok. But this is what socialists would call the labor theory of value. The idea that a good or product, well, what it's really worth is how much labor went into it. But that just doesn't make any sense from the get-go. That would mean that two shoes that are the exact same shoe, left foot and right foot, well, one would be worth more if it was made in a way that took more time from a laborer, or made by a laborer that worked more slowly. It doesn't make any sense. It's also just hilarious because they're pretending as if all that's involved in production is labor. Nobody has to, take out mortgages, make investments, pay taxes, manage an operation. It's just the worker shows up, as if all production is as simple as paper origami. And more importantly, they think that it's apparently theft to work for somebody voluntarily at a wage you guys agree to, yet these same people talk about raising taxes, and they don't see that as theft. How does that make any sense? Zeke, roll the next one. Oh, okay. I have so many questions there, I don't really know where to start. But one, why are you wearing a mask to a hookup, though? It's like, oh, I can't get COVID in my hookup. I think the mask isn't going to save you there. And I also think that if you're quizzing your Tinder hookups on their economic beliefs right before you hop into bed, you might be doing dating the wrong way. But even more importantly, the idea that capitalism is the root of all problems, it just doesn't make any sense. There was a time before capitalism existed. It was invented in the mid-17th century. Were there no problems before then? If anything, there were a lot more. And now the countries today that don't have capitalism, do they just have no problems? If that was really the root of all our problems, there would be a lot more going on than this TikTok manages to argue. Zeke, what do we got next? Okay, nope, that's not gonna work for me, folks. Don't use cute dogs to push terrible ideas. Don't do it. I love dogs, and dogs do not belong in your socialist propaganda. I mean, you can't blame capitalism for the fact that homelessness exists and food is thrown away. I mean, how much of that comes back to actually government regulations that in many places make it illegal to hand out food or expose you to legal liabilities if you give away leftovers? More importantly, I mean, when I think of the most socialist places in America, I think of California, I think of New York City. Those are also the places that seem to have a lot of homeless people and a lot of hunger and problems. So, I mean, it's bad enough to be pushing terrible ideas, but do not use cute dogs to do it. Let's roll the next one, Zeke.
This is one of my favorite other critiques. It's commonly said that socialism and communism has failed every time it's been tried. To this you just say, by what metric? Because the concept of failure is subjective. Is it because it doesn't exist anymore? Then in that case, do you consider every single civilization up until the ones that currently exist to be failures? And do you consider every country that currently exists to be successful? Because that's dumb. I wouldn't consider giving everyone a house, education, free healthcare, and a job, and food a failure. That's a lot better than we do here. I would consider someone dying once every 12 minutes because they don't have health insurance a failure. I consider the fact that people in Flint, Michigan still don't have drinkable water a failure. I consider a police force that arose to catch black people, runaway slaves, and continues to murder them a failure. 12+ hour voting lines a failure. The least educated voting against their class interest a failure.
Wow. So failure may be subjective, but guess what? Gulags, lines for food, mass starvation, and war crimes that we've seen in basically every communist country throughout history, I think that's about as objective a failure as you can get. And it's just nuts to me because think of the world today and you think of what societies and what countries come closest to being socialist or communist. It's not a pretty list, guys. North Korea, we've got Cuba, Venezuela. I mean, these are places that people are desperate to leave, whereas the places they want to come to are market-based societies like you have in most parts of Europe and in the US. At the end of the day, nobody ever fled capitalism in a raft. Zeke, let's roll the next one.
Darling, I understand you want a cool communist boyfriend, okay? But chasing after Mr. Mustache nicotine addiction is counter-revolutionary when you are young and beautiful and can rob a member of the bourgeoisie with your looks alone. Find a sugar daddy. Redistribute the wealth. That's praxis. That's harm reduction.
Okay, that one cracks me up. Like I said, all this content, it's not all bad. Some of it is genuinely hilarious, even if the people pushing it are socialists. And in this case, I respect the hustle. You know, redistributing the wealth to a new extreme, I respect it. But I will say this, a sugar daddy relationship where you are exchanging goods and services for financial compensation, that's a voluntarily free market capitalist transaction. Well guys, that's about all the cringe communist content I can handle today. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and leave a comment down below. Make sure you're subscribed to Rightly so you can join us next time on BradReacts.